What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Backrooms Lore video, and today we're going to be going over level 3, which is referred to as the electrical station. Level 3 is a survival difficulty of class 4, which describes it as being unsafe, unsecure, and has a medium entity count. Wow. Level 3 is a lot like levels 0 and 1 in that the rooms are randomly segmented, and there is also a ton of machinery and mechanical noise. Even scarier, however, these rooms can sometimes be very narrow or small, so people of average height, or even taller or shorter, will have a very difficult time navigating through some parts of the level. Typically in this level, you're going to see a red brick kind of material on the walls, and there's going to be a metal ceiling, so when you see those two, most likely that you're going to be here in level 3. Like levels 0, 1, and 2, level 3 is a big boy. It is a pretty big level. It sits at around 350 million square miles of area. So, just like the previous areas, it's going to be very, very important to be patient and keep in mind that these levels are massive. Another very, very important thing to keep in mind is that there are barely any wanderers here just because of the sheer size of the level. So if you're coming here, make sure you're well prepared to defend yourself because we're at a class 4 difficulty. There's going to be a ton of entities here. So just be very well prepared and be very careful while you're here. Another important thing to note about this level is it shares many similarities with level 0 in that the rooms are segmented in pretty much the same way, but the contents of the rooms are vastly, vastly different. It's just that level 3's rooms contain just different objects, whereas level 0's rooms contained absolutely nothing at all. Now, one of the most notable examples of a different room layout is going to come from a Meg expedition in the initial exploration of the level in 2012. And I've got a picture on the side here which shows that further attempts to open the door demonstrated that they can't. They cannot be removed or opened, nor the walls around them. So that's a little scary. And a bunch of other obstructions have made it impossible to traverse certain points of level 3. So because of that, the level cannot fully be mapped at the present time. And specifically in these areas where you have these bars here, you're going to have a heightened sense of fear, which I guess is an anomalous property of this specific area or these multiple specific areas in this level. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be very difficult to maintain your sanity if you stay around these barred areas for too long. Even more terrifying, a lot of wanderers have reported seeing figures beyond the bars or feeling like they're being watched. So keep that in mind. That's pretty scary. Level 3 also shares some similarities, and you guessed it, they share some similarities with level 2. With the pipes on the wall and the viscous black sludge that flows through the pipes, it's pretty much one of the main sources of noise within the level. Just like from level 2, the sludge is highly toxic and it emits deadly fumes that cause damage to your body's nervous system if inhaled. So, like I said last episode, if you come across this black sludge, just stay away from it and be as far away from it as you can, because you're going to get skin burns of the 2nd to 3rd degree, so be very, very careful. And the sludge itself has stopped a ton of Meg expeditions just because of how dangerous it is, so be very careful. If you're lucky enough, you can find some out-of-place electrical rooms that can also be just randomly strewn about throughout level 3, and those electrical rooms vary greatly in pretty much every single way, but the majority of them have one thing in common, and that is a generator in the middle of the room. And pretty much every electronic appliance, such as the breaker boxes, computers, loose wires, security camera monitors, and fluorescent lights have also been reported in those rooms. So yeah, pretty cool. I'd imagine that if you guys want to go to one of those electrical rooms, try to scavenge around for some electrical parts, because I'd imagine those are pretty useful in the back rooms, especially if you want to take them to a group like the BNTG or something like that and you want to trade. Definitely a good idea, so just keep that in mind. I definitely think you could definitely score some good stuff here. Another strange, I guess, but pretty interesting thing about this level is there are a lot of bases here, and level 3 is kind of a hotspot for bases, really, because of the rich resources, including almond water, false outlets, liquid pain, fire salt, royal rations, squirt guns, and bottled lightning, and you can find a ton of that stuff here. But you can also find some assorted supplies here, like knives and bolt cutters and things like that, just a lot of stuff that you wouldn't really see in the back rooms. But I think probably the most important thing about this level is the fact that you have Wi-Fi here, and it's pretty much the strongest area in the back rooms where you can have a solid 3 or 4 bars of Wi-Fi. And in pretty much every other level, it's going to fluctuate, or you're just not going to have any kind of radio or electrical communication at all. So while you're here, definitely take advantage of the fact that there's a strong Wi-Fi signal. Level 3 also has kind of the same mechanics with the machinery in level 2, in that the machinery gets very hot and the air around it gets very hot. But generally the temperature in this level is pretty bearable, but in certain spots it can get insanely hot, up to like 135 degrees Fahrenheit, just something crazy like that. But just keep that in mind, that certain areas of this level are also going to have very damp, thick air, and it's going to be kind of hard to breathe. So generally just traveling in this level, be prepared. It's a very, very difficult and hazardous place to be. Another cool thing about this level is the fact that wanderers can pretty much tap into the infinite or limitless source of power coming from these generators. But of course, there's a downside to this. The generators have been known to spontaneously combust. So just like anything in this level, be prepared to deal with the hot temperatures and the exploding machinery and the lots and lots of entities. And of course, level 3 is going to have some very nasty entities on it. While you're here, you can see hounds, facelings, wretches, male and female death moths, skin stealers, dullers, smilers, clumps, and bursters. Now that's a lot of entities, and you're bound to at least come across one while you're in this level. Another small part that's covered in the wiki is that the crawler fungus has been found growing here, and because of the high humidity and dampness of the air that I mentioned earlier, it's very easy for the disease to spread here. And another strange thing about these entities is that they seem to possess a sort of hive mind, and they actively seek out hubs of human activity. So definitely a lot scarier to be dealing with entities on this level than on other levels. And while the smaller groups and outposts on this level don't really have an issue with the entities, a lot of the smaller groups, such as the FOJ, which I'm going to cover in a minute here, have reported difficulty in keeping their outposts intact. So if you come across a small outpost and it's getting attacked, my advice is to get out of there, don't put yourself in harm's way, because these entity attacks can get nasty. There are quite a few bases here, but a large proportion of them end up failing just because of the entity attacks and how often that the resources needed to build a base are not available. So if you're trying to build a base here, I probably wouldn't even attempt to do it unless you have the resources and the manpower like Meg or something. So just keep that in mind whenever you're trying to do something like build a base here. The first base here is going to be Meg Base Gamma, which is the third most important Meg base. There are around 300 operatives that are permanently stationed here, and a large number of others lodge here. Originally constructed by Meg operatives out of makeshift bricks, which were made of shredded toothbrushes and shoelaces and plastic horseshoes, so they kind of built their empire from nothing. So that's pretty much the thing to take away from that. They are open to trading, but they are commonly attacked by swarms of entities, so keep that in mind. If you come here and you want to like join the Meg base here or something, or if you want to do some trading, you might come during a bad time and, entity attacks. So keep that in mind. They are the most well-known powered base in the Backrooms, so it's also targeted for people for that reason, so bandits, keep that in mind. And it is pretty much the largest documented base on level 3. So if you come to level 3 looking for a base, this is the one that you're probably going to want to go find. The next base is going to be the BNTG storage facility, which is used as a primary storage facility for the BNTG, as the name would suggest. There are a ton of resources belonging to the BNTG that are stored here, and they're all prepared for trading in other levels, pretty much. The next group is going to be the Followers of Jerry, Blue Salvation. There are only around 15 permanent members, and they pretty much set up in this level for the purpose of resource collection. They're pretty small, so that makes them easy to deal with, but if you are hostile and not willing to learn of Jerry, then you might get attacked. So keep that in mind. They have an unpredictable threat level. The next group is going to be the Masked Maidens, and they have an unknown name, it says here on the wiki, but it's an unconfirmed base and rumored to exist after frequent attacks on base Gamma from the Maidens. So if you encounter them, just avoid them at all costs, just because of how unpredictable they are. And the final base of level 3 is going to be the UEC base Sicila, and there are an unknown amount of members here, but they're likely set up to collect resources, so not a big deal. However, they are not open to trading and should not be approached, so threat level, unknown, but be very careful if you end up on their side of their territory. The first entrance into this level is going to be through the unlocked doors on level 2, which I covered in the last video, which will commonly take you here to level 3. The second entrance is going to be the elevators on level 4 and level 5, which can lead back to level 3. So keep that in mind, you may end up backtracking. And entering bunkers on level 10 can sometimes lead you to level 3. And buildings on level 11 that have a similar look to level 3 on the inside can sometimes, and keep that in mind, sometimes, teleport you to it. There are rusty pipes found inside level 13 that may lead to level 3 should you make contact with them. And the metro is also a very easy way to access level 3. There are a couple of exits for this level, the first being elevators on level 3, which can usually lead to level 4 and level 5. So depending on how lucky you are, you may either end up going to level 4 or 5, so pretty neat. And there are wooden doors that lead you to level 31. Additionally, sitting in the front seat of cars that are found in the electrical rooms will cause you to fall unconscious, and upon waking up, you will be in level 69. That's going to be all for this episode. I just want to say thank you to, again, everyone in the Backrooms Discord that's helping me out with this, and all of the people who are watching my videos right now. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Just let me know if there's anything you guys want me to cover, and I'll try to get to it. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching.